The evangelist gives us a context for the reading. He starts the reading by saying that Jesus was making his way to Jerusalem, to the city of destiny, to the place where he will demonstrate for us what salvation is. And salvation that is demonstrated is obedience to the Father through love. That he will love the Father and he will love us so deeply that he will dare to give his whole life so that we will understand what salvation means. A loving relationship with the Father that allows him to be in loving relationship with us. That we are loved by him even when we reject him, even when we spit on him, even when we jeer at him, even when we say all kinds of things. That we are invited to this loving relationship. And it is in this loving relationship that we will find salvation. The text today, someone, a little cheeky person says, well, how many are going to be saved? Jesus said, don't worry about that, no? Here's what to worry about. You try and enter through the narrow gate. You try and enter through the narrow gate. Don't worry about how many will be saved. Worry about how you are living your life. Don't worry about speculation. Do what you could do when you can do it with what you have. Don't worry about who and what and why might be there in the kingdom and enter into lovely fantasies about that. Enter into living life here and now in the cut and thrust of life where you can give yourself in love to God through giving yourself in love to others. Worry about that, he says. Entering through the narrow gate is a wonderful image. Because we know in John's Gospel, Jesus says, I am the gate of the sheepfold. No one can come in except through me. So entering through the narrow gate is entering through Jesus Christ. And we can't enter except through Jesus Christ because he is the door. Remember for the Jubilee year how we had this door lock and everybody quarrel? They had to pass everywhere else to get into the center because the door was locked. To remind us in preparation for the Jubilee that there was a time when the door was locked and then there was a time when the door was opened, and that's what we were celebrating, that the door had opened. Enter through the narrow door, and that door is Jesus Christ. What the text is inviting us to, because the only way we can enter through the narrow door is if we open the door of our heart to Christ. If we allow Christ into our heart through the door of our heart, then we will have the key to enter through the door which is Christ, because as Christ enters into us, we will be transformed into the image of Christ. And when we come to the door, the Father, recognizing the face of his Son, shining through us, will open that door so that we can enter. And that's why when all of these people saying, but as a Catholic, I went to Mass every Sunday, how many of you know me? I do not know where you come from. It's not that I don't know you, you know. Somebody ever tell you that? Boy, I don't know where you come from, no? It's not that I don't know you. I know you so well that I can't understand how you're still here doing these things. I don't know where you come from. That has more to do than recognition of faith. It has to do with the whole attitude that we bring and the way that we live our lives. The invitation of the text today is an invitation to reflect the image of Christ in every little way that we live our life. You know, the cartons of cigarettes now have a little warning on them. Huh? If you use this, it is, the Surgeon General says this is dangerous to your health. I want to put a little warning on this homily. This homily is going to be dangerous to your health. So I'll give you a warning up front. Don't tell me anything after this. The text of the reading and challenges we face in the society have come together. When we want to be Christian, we have to be able to hear the word and bend our heart to God's word. What we try to do sometimes is bend God's word to our heart. And that's trouble. That is when he say, I don't know. You're catching out. Eh? I don't know where you come from. Because you are coming to him not by bending your heart to his word. You are coming to him trying to manipulate his word to suit your heart. And we do this. We do this as a people. We do this as a church. We do this as individuals. We do this. But, you know, we're coming to a time in our civilization where being a Christian is not going to be a cultural thing anymore. It's going to be a matter of conscience and choice. And we're going to be parting ways with civilization from time to time, as much as we will be leading ways for civilization from time to time. You know that when Jesus went to Jerusalem, that it was a mob that executed him? You aware of that? That it was a mob frenzy that was whipped up to execute the Son of God. When we have in a country like ours, and we're facing crime and violence at the level that we are facing it, we all have to agree about one thing. The crime and violence in this country has gone far too far. That it is unacceptable that a small nation like our own would face the high crime and violence that we are facing. One report I saw not too long ago put us in the top 10 in the world in terms of crime and violence. And this is completely ridiculous for a country as small as our own. And we have to do something about it. Now, the other piece of it is, when we see the escalating crime and violence, what does it lead us to feel? We feel powerless in the face of it. Because we feel as if something has to happen, because otherwise this whole thing is going to get out of hand and we can't let it go any further. So we just have to do something to stop it. And I agree with that up to this point. The real question is, what do we do to stop it? That's the real question. One of the solutions that is being proposed is capital punishment. And that if we would start hanging people again, we would get the crime and violence down, because we would create the social deterrent that would allow would-be criminals to understand that there's a price for their actions, and that price would somehow drive crime and violence down, that the murder rate would drop insofar as we start the hangings going again. I am not convinced on two counts. First, the last time the country did this, in the late 90s, if you look at the murder rate from the novena of hangings, that's what it was, 9 hangings, on, the murder rate went straight up, out of the sky. And so the executions of the government did not change it changed the murder rate. The murder rate went in the wrong direction. Part of the challenge we're facing is, how do we live in powerlessness? That's part of the challenge we're facing, because we are powerless in the face of this thing. And we want something to happen. And this is an easy way to do something. But the question is whether the something we're doing is the right thing,